My name is John Canning, and I have been a member of the APT for over 30 years. I have enjoyed the experience of sharing and promoting the best technology for conservation and preservation of historic buildings. Richard Moe, past president of the National Trust for Historic Preservation, expressed that the preservation of our built environment is a link from the past to the present. We, as members of APTI, and the work we do individually and collaboratively, have the responsibility to make that link from the present to the future.
For nearly 45 years, John Canning Studios has rooted itself in the preservation field. We have worked in all sizes of projects, from tremendously large, monumental buildings to very small, intimate spaces. We have been fortunate to work within an industry where the very essence of what we do is to preserve and to protect the edifices of our forebears so that we can enjoy it, we can learn from it, and we can pass it on to future generations so that they can do the same.
It's impossible to think of any high-style 19th century interior without a decorative scheme. Decorative painting and decorative treatments were always and should always be an integral part of structures from that era. I'm a member of APT and find it to be a valuable asset to the field of preservation. APT is a terrific resource for the dissemination of research in the field, especially through its bulletin and especially with regard to technologies and materials. John and his team, including David Riccio, were phenomenal, knowledgeable, insightful, always supportive, always helpful, always upbeat. Canning was definitely the right company to do the decorative work and conservation on these projects. They managed the schedule, maintained superlative quality, and exceeded expectations. Decorative finishes are a commitment that, if done right, transcend style and are not mere fad or fashion, but rather have long-lasting value.
APT has provided us with a tremendous amount of information and resources. We have gained so much knowledge through that relationship. And I'd like to think that our studio has provided information and knowledge and craftsmanship to our colleagues at APT that they could take with them with their projects as they proceed. When working in a landmark building, irregardless of the condition it may be in, when we walk through the halls or through the spaces, we can feel history unfold right before our eyes. And it's very exciting to be a part of that process.
John Canning Studio is the decorative finish studio of choice for our office. We've worked with other companies, but I found that the level of service as well as the craftsmanship the John Canning Studio has demonstrated really separates them from other decorative finish contractors.
From August 2019 to May 2020, John Canning Company cleaned and restored the interior and exterior statuary located in the main hall and above the one entrance doors at Union Station. It also performed the same treatment to 6 selected vestibules on the north and south sides of the main hall. As work progressed, it became clear on how needed the restoration was. In fact, when I completed the punch list at the end of the project, I was able to see much more details, such as the pupils in the eyes. USRC believes that we made the right decision to hire John Canning Company after being impressed with their strong proposal and experience. We have been even happier with the results of the project. USRC and its partners have been very impressed with the quality of John Canning Company's results, which has garnered praise from local and national historic preservation agencies.
I am a member of APT. My company is a member of APT, and I encourage all of my design engineers to become a member of APT. I think that the organization is wonderful for education and networking and really encouraging interdiscipline cooperation on projects. John Canning is always the right company for the project that we get involved in, whether it's us working on a project and we call you in as a consultant, or we recommend you as a contractor, or you're on a project as a contractor and you pull us in as a consultant. We've kind of done it every which way, one working for the other, vice versa, working together. It always works.
It is an honor to work on national landmark buildings, to work with colleagues in the preservation community that share common goals, that are curious about building materials, about the state of a building, how it was constructed, why it was constructed, who designed it, the materials chosen, the methodologies for the installation of these materials, craftsmanship in the end. It is paramount for us to fully understand the original method of execution, the way in which finishes were installed, so that we can faithfully and accurately reinstate those finishes using the same or similar tools and techniques, traditional materials where and when possible.
As the Director of Historic Preservation for Shawmut Design and Construction, I have worked with John Canning and Company over the years on many projects. I believe there's an incredible importance to these buildings about having the proper restorations, in particular the decorative arts. Preservation I've been involved with for 45 years in my career, and the work has really always focused around high-level restoration and preservation. So it's been very, very important in my career in getting the right people to do this type of work. The quality that Canning brings to their work is incredible. It's something that we come to rely on. In other words, we only rely on Canning to do the very highest end of work, the high level of expertise and the high level of skill that's needed for their work.
We work with John Canning now for almost going on 32 years. My favorite is the Senate chamber and adjacent offices, which was the first major phase of that project, based on the quality of his samples that he submitted, based upon his reputation and the desire to know that we were basically doing a museum quality restoration preservation project here. The state and Crispin Company chose John Canning Studios to do that work. The extensive amount of decorative finishes that were performed in that chamber by some very talented craftspeople that John brought forward, and that really became the basis for everybody else in that building. They were the benchmark of how the decorative painting was going to be performed on that project. What was interesting in 2016 is a group of our workers happened to be going down one of the main hallways and saw what they thought was plaster that was starting to deform from these decorative painted ceilings. And this is one of the aspects that I've enjoyed working with John Canning Studios over time, is how to solve what was a very unique problem. And there was no playbook. There was nothing that we could say, well, this is just a matter of doing X, Y, and Z. It was really coming up with an understanding of what was going on with that ceiling. How could we do that exploration safely? And then come up with a solution, sell that solution to the state, put a budget together, and implement all of that while the building stayed open. My career in historic preservation has really been around preservation technology and the materials and methods that we get to use to preserve buildings. And that Association for Preservation Technology has really led into that. But beyond that, when we see our projects done and completed, and knowing that we've given new life to these buildings and allowed them to continue on either in a new form or preserve them in their historic form, it's very important because that allows us to continue our communities to value that investment that was made by those tradespeople well before us in planning and implementing this work. And so when I can be part of that preservation process, when I can walk out of a building and know that we have left it as well as, if not better than what the generation before us did, that is exciting to me.
The reward for us is honoring the past and knowing that our good work will go forward for future generations. We look to the history of our work, but I do look forward to the growth of the preservation field and APT and the good work of John Canning Studios.